Isaac, Akiva.
Hi. What kapitel Tehillim do we say? I want to get it up on the screen.
If it's, the subject matter tonight is how to get money back from the government, so I'm not sure.
Where did I go?
Is there anything about jail? About getting out of jail?
I think so. There's mimamakim, no? Not 90, 72. Which one do we say on Shabbos? What are the ones we say on Shabbos? Yossi. Shalom Alayis one.
Are you on? No. How come I didn't have to put anything in? You pressed the link, came automatically because we were already in there last time.
Whatever, any zero.
We would ask everybody who feels comfortable to show their video, because part of the enjoyment of this evening is being able to spend some time with our loved ones from the Besmedrish and elsewhere. So if you do feel comfortable, we would love to see your face. Look at the Gudel as a Gurner. What a beautiful face there. He's enhancing the whole meeting. The Mechaber Sefer Halevi Yitzchak.
By the way, if you go onto the channel today, you'll see his name. It says featuring Yossi Simon and including guests Isaac, quote unquote, Chaloimus Yitzchak Grubner and Shaya Shachner.
Oh, gewaltig.
This is for posterity, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay, we're going to have to mute people, right? Okay, so I put Tehillim 91 on.
Here. So here?
It's a very good selection.
Okay.
Save us from Mazikin.
Yeah. I just saw Yossi Philip is coming on.
And Amir said he's coming on at 7:45.
Okay, so we'll wait for him. Could you see the Tehillim on the screen?
Yes, okay, it's perfect.
Okay.
Amir, when you come on, please announce yourself.
Yeah.
Meeting password, please try again.
Geen nog niet.
No, the wrong is pass, the ID number.
No, they use password more like by Mandy.
Yossi, there's no question that we do want to see people. I'm not sure if we want to still hear them.
Well, if they're saying funny things in the background, we for sure want to hear them.
Okay. So maybe just mute. Do you know Amir's number?
No.
Okay.
But he'll announce himself.
No, it'll be an ID. If you go look at the participants, you'll see the ID.
Hello?
Hello, welcome.
What happened to you? I lost everyone.
We hear you.
Oh, I can't get on again. What's happening here? What's happening?
We hear you. We hear you.
Oh my God.
We hear you all.
No, I lost him.
See, you can make better, see? You can put the group.
Yeah. Yeah,
Are you there?
Akiva, at 7:45. Is Rabbi Philip there yet?
No, he. We may have had a miscommunication. I don't know if the Rav is on or not. Maybe the Rav didn't see it. If not, we'll say the Tehillim together.
Okay.
We'll give him a few minutes and see if we can come on. Let me check if the Rav is here. Go to the participants,
Right.
because I have it on the screen, and see,
Right.
does it say iPhone for anybody? Is there an iPhone on?
1 second, let me look.
Didn't mute us, right?
No, there is no iPhone.
No, so the Rav is not on yet. Let me see if Rabbi Philip's coming on.
What did you get for this?
Ooh, ouch.
All right. I think Rabbi Philip will join us soon.
Hello?
Rav Isaac, we can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Give it 3 minutes and then we'll start.
Tillim?
Okay. Yeah.
אני
Threw me off, this shit.
They did that to Yoina Hanovi. Akiva, the Ruv's not here, Philip's not here, Amir's not here. We better start saying Tillim.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What time is it? Another we'll give
7:49.
We'll get 7:40 now. We'll give him 7:50.
Yeah.
Okay. Rabbi Philip's going to be on in a while. You'll have to mute. Everybody will say Tehillim. Is Amir here?
I don't hear him yet.
Do you have his number? Can we call him on
Yeah.
his use? So
I'll WhatsApp him, ask him if he's joining.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you want to start saying Tillim?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I see the Rav's not on, right? Is the Rav on?
I don't see
Doesn't look like-
iPhone.
I don't see iPhone.
Hello, it's Amir Rosenthal here.
Oh,
Ah.
Amir. Welcome.
Welcome.
Shalom
Okay.
Aleichem.
Aleichem Shalom. So we're just about to start. We're going to start with Tehillim, and then we will ask you to help us out over here.
Perfect.
Akiva, you want to take it away?
Okay. I don't see a picture. Yes. Yoshem b'seiser elyon b'tzel shada yisloinon. Amr ladinoi matziu matsudasi. Elayavtach bach yuyes l'chomei pach yokshu mideva v'avos ve'avos yosef l'chol sasas v'avos zetzinon stoiris amitu v'semi pachad loilon v'chitzion
Acheni kol beis Yisrael nesuden batzor v'shivi ha'im lebeit v'yom ovim v'yavasha amokim mirachem elohem v'yotzei mitzor levacha u'me'afele la'ira v'shivi begula hashem v'golu b'dman korim.
Amen. Hi, good evening, everybody. Yossi, if you can mute everybody except for Amir, if you have his number, just you can unmute him. The Rav in today's message reiterated the preparations for Pesach. And again, he talked about people accumulating chametz and putting it away for after Pesach. So in other words, if you buy bread today, flour, cereal, ketchup, peanut butter, whatever your cabinet, put it in the garage, put it in a separate room so it should chas v'shalom never be mixed up or mistaken for anything that's Pesachdik, and include it in your sale of your chametz. The other thing that the Rav underlined, and as he has in previous years, is to begin B'dika in advance of tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is a lot of pressure to clean the entire house on one night. So start by cleaning other rooms and leave for tomorrow night 1 or 2 rooms only. Put the 10 pieces of bread in that room and make the bracha and clear it. But start in advance. Tonight is obviously your last chance to do that, and go through the majority of the house. This way, the women and children won't feel the pressure of going through an entire house in one night. Okay, we're...
Akiva, you're able to get rid of the screen so that we can have our screen show.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. How's that?
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're thrilled to have tonight Amir Rosenthal, who, correct me if any of these credentials are incorrect. He's a senior manager at Grunwald and Company. He's a CPA, he's a CA. He's certified as well in financial forensics. More importantly, and as Isaac here, his father is a Halevi, and he comes from a Shevet of Leviim, and his grandmother, most importantly, founded and operated Miriam's bookstores for many, many years, and was responsible for Judaic education and infotainment for many years at the corner of Bathurst and Caribou.
Just under the kollel.
With a smile. What's that? Right under the kollel for many years. And in the middle of the heat of tax season, he's decided to help us out and come and explain the programs that are available for people that the governments on all levels are offering to help relieve some of the financial burdens that's going on currently. So Amir, first of all, how's your family?
Baruch Hashem, thanks for asking. I hope all is well with your family and everybody else who's listening. But Baruch Hashem, we are okay. Thank you.
Okay. I see, by the way, Rabbi Philip made it on, so we're going to leave 5 minutes for the Dvar Halacha at the end. Okay. So we'll go.
If you want to have Rabbi Philip give I'm happy to listen to Dvar Halacha as well. So however you like, however you like to progress.
All right. So we'll do the Dvar Halacha now, but I'm not going to read your introduction again.
Very good. That's a deal. That's a deal.
All right. Go ahead, Rabbi Philip. Are you okay?
Let me unmute him.
Unmute him.
Let's leave it for afterwards. He started already. Go, Amir. Go ahead. We'll leave it at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's start from the individual to the general. So I'll start with myself. I'm a guy who has a paycheck. I run also a small business. My wife as well is self-employed. I have some kids who are on the books, do make some money. What is the government offering me?
So before I begin, the disclaimer is that I can't obviously give any specific advice as it relates to anyone in particular. I can give the general perspective. Anything specific, you should obviously speak to your accountant to make sure that it works for you, because there's a lot of moving parts on it, and taking advantage of one of the benefits might preclude you from taking advantage of another one. So it's very important to recognize that I'm sort of giving a general idea, and then hopefully you'll take some notes, and you can just verify them with your accountant to make sure that you're on side with any other potential benefits or any other tax planning that might happen throughout the course of the year. So I guess to start, the main benefit that came through today that's now available to access online is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. So it's also known as CERB or CERB. And what this benefit allows people to do, individuals, is to access $2,000 a month under certain circumstances. And so the main bullet points and by the way, everything I'm saying is available on the web in terms of eligibility, but the main bullet points that are required in order to be eligible is, first of all, the individual has to be residing in Canada and has to be at least 15 years old. The second bullet is that the individual had to have stopped working because of coronavirus, and they had to, this is sort of something that was new in the last part of last week. They need to have earned at least $5,000 in 2019 or in the 12 months preceding the date of their application. So I guess without going into the complications, initially the eligibility was simply just having $5,000 in 2019. Now, in the last part of last week, they added the window of showing or reporting income to the 12 months preceding the date of application, which means to say that if someone for some reason wasn't employed in 2019, but in the first part of the 2020 year earned at least $5,000, they would also be entitled to apply for the benefit. And the last bullet point, the fourth, is that they have to represent that they expect to be without employment or self-employment income for 14 days in this initial 4-week period that begins today. So those are the 4 bullet points. And most people, most individuals, I guess the hardest one to meet is I guess the second bullet point to say, listen, I'm not working because of specifically the coronavirus. So that's very important. And also the fact that I'm not going to earn any income in the next 14 days or 14 days in the first month. And if you click yes to those questions, and I mentioned click because to apply for it, the easiest way to do that is through the online portal through CRA's My Account. Then if my understanding is that applying for this benefit is quite simple. It's a few yes and no questions, and you're off to the races. Having said that, if someone is not able to access the internet, they can access the CRA's, I guess, individual client line. It's called at a phone number. I think it's 1-800-959-8281. And then they can, I guess, spend a couple of hours on hold and eventually speak to an agent who will then ask them the questions verbally, and then the person will respond, and then the check should be in the mail, assuming you answer the questions.
If they ask me if I'm working, I'll tell them if I had time to wait 2 hours on the phone on hold, obviously I'm not working.
Right, and I guess the idea is exactly like the problem is that this is unprecedented. So, and many of the CRA, for those who are going through a CRA audit, as you probably are well aware, everything's stopped. No CRA agent is doing any audit work. There is currently collections. They're not collecting anymore. Everything really on CRA is on hold. And I guess whatever agents remain are sort of on the phones and trying their best. And again, the idea is if you want to check, the sooner the better is to actually get the CRA's My Account, which is a very straightforward process. By sort of if you Google CRA My Account, the process of logging through or logging on and accessing the information that you need to apply is relatively straightforward. It's a 2-step process, by the way. It's first enter in your social insurance number, and also you have to put in a couple of other items that relate to your 2019 or 18 tax return. And then after that, you'll get a letter in the mail within 2 weeks or so, which will then allow you to get the CRA's My Account. So the takeaway from this is that individuals can get $2,000 a month if they are eligible. The best way to access the $2,000 or apply for it is through CRA's My Account. And again, all the instructions of getting that account set up is all done online.
Okay, so just to repeat that, you said it's $2,000 per month. You didn't say how many months did the government offer it for?
Yes, so the government offers it for up to 16 weeks. And my understanding is that this process of applying for it, I think, has to be done on a monthly basis. So you'll answer the questions as it relates to the next 4 weeks. Then At the end of the 4-week period, a CRA presumably will send or will advise that whoever got the benefit for the whoever would like to apply for the benefit in the next month has to do the similar application process for the next month up to 16 weeks from today.
Okay.
So it seems like if you don't have my account already on CRA, you can't apply online because it'll take you a couple of weeks just to get your letter.
Right. So, and I think there's no real, I don't believe there's a deadline in the sense that if you don't do anything today or 2 weeks from now, you're not going to lose out on the benefit. I think that today happened to be the first day that it was open, and tomorrow and the day after, like they had a system, I think somewhere, I remember reading somewhere that it's based on the last name of the taxpayer, and they should log, for those who have, or birthdays of the taxpayer, for those who have a birthday from the first 3 months should apply today, and then every quarter is broken down by day. I don't think that if you missed your day today, you can't apply tomorrow. So, Yosy, to respond to you, you can start the My Account process today, wait the 2 weeks, and by the time you get your letter in the mail of how to actually access of your I guess your username and password to actually log into your account, you won't be too late. You should be able to apply and get the benefits retroactively.
I'm afraid it's like toilet paper and Shoppers Drug Mart. If I don't come early, there'll be none left.
I think that's I think the word on the street is probably do it as soon as possible. If you're really concerned and you want to get it done now, then obviously the telephone might be the best option. But again, the idea is that you'd be on hold for quite some time. It would probably be inefficient, but it's nice background music.
Okay, so just
while you're on hold.
Just to clarify it, it doesn't matter if you're employed or self-employed.
That's correct. You have to, if you're an employee, then you ought to have stopped working specifically because of the coronavirus.
Correct.
If you were self-employed, again, you ought to have stopped working because of the coronavirus, and presumably you're not working because nobody is, you can't make business now because everything's shut down, so you cannot work. So it does work for an employee. It works for a self-employed individual as well. And again, the key is making sure that, when you answer the questions, it should obviously be, like I said, I think they'll ask you 4 questions. Those 4 bullets that I mentioned are probably going to be the questions they're going to ask. And if you answer yes to those questions, presumably it's like, are you 15 years old? Are you residing in Canada? Question numbers 1 and 2, let's say. Did you stop because of coronavirus? Yes. Income last year or the preceding 12 months of the application date. And then I guess this is actually the 5th question. Are you expecting to make employment or self-employment income in the next month? Again, if you don't make income 14 days of this month, then you can apply for this benefit and you'd be eligible.
These days, I'm only used to having 4 kashas. I'm only used to 4 questions. You say 5 now.
That's funny. Very good.
Muted? Can I come in on the conversation? Are we muted?
We wanted to give Amir a chance to finish, but go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just that I have something to add. About 10 minutes before, it's Andrea Sharp. About 10 minutes before this program started, yes. I was on the CRA account, my account with my accountant, and I filled in this particular form. I had never had a CRA type of account like that before. It's very easy. They walk you through it. And the form itself is extremely easy to use. Because I don't have a code or a direct deposit from that account, they told me that they promised me to send me a check within 10 days from the CRA for the amount that I would be applying for if I applied for it and put in my submit account. I can't tell you whether I did or not because that's personal and confidential. The bottom line in that is that it's easy to apply for. My birthday happens to be in March, so today was the day I could apply, and there's still, after this program, probably 2 or 3 other people who are listening in who could apply before midnight if they wanted to. Very easy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll have time for questions after Amir completes his presentation. Go ahead. So we had Serb, What's next?
So that's the serve. The next thing that I think is very worthwhile to mention is the fact that if anybody, again, we're talking from the individual's perspective, that if anybody has mortgages with the bank, the banks have been encouraged to be very nice with all individuals who request for deferral. So it does help in cash flow. My understanding is that an individual can get up to 6 months without having to pay any payments. What would happen is that the principal and interest that's unpaid would be added to the principal balance owing. Interest would be charged on the unpaid balance, but at the same time, the benefit obviously is that you'd have cash flow available for day-to-day requirements that are for yourselves. And one thing that would be very prudent would be to make sure that if you are going to go ahead with this and request from the bank for a deferral, you should make sure that it's not going to negatively impact credit ratings. I think that I don't know the answer to that. You have to speak to the banker or the whoever it is that you're dealing with at the bank to make sure that this is not going to impact you negatively. Obviously, it's going to be your discretion to say, you know what, I don't care if it's going to impact me. Everybody's going through this. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. But it's something that is available to you just to make sure that there's extra cash available for day-to-day necessities. So that is what I would say the federal response to an individual's, the economic response from the federal level. There are other things that are going on that are going through the provincial government, mainly related to. There's actually a long laundry list. I think the best thing to do there is to, if perhaps after this session, maybe I can share the link to the Budget Ontario's website so that everybody can see the list. But one thing that was brought to my attention yesterday was that people who have children who are up to 12 years old will get a one-time payment of $200 per child who are going through who are in school to finance the cost of education. And there are other programs that are available, but again, it's quite a lengthy list, and I think the best thing to do is just to look at the Budget Ontario website to see the details that are there, and I guess if the next logical place to go would be how the government's responding, at least the federal government is responding to the virus, or at least to allow people to have a little bit of extra money in their pocket. They also have a long they have some details that would be available to corporations, and I think the first thing that people should know is that there were 2 wage subsidies that were made available to corporations. And I guess because of this unprecedented event, the government was quick to suggest a temporary wage subsidy for employers. And that, in effect, allowed employers to, and by the way, I should be very clear, I'm sorry, I think I mentioned only to corporations. This particular subsidy is, let me just take a quick look at this, because there are 2 parts to the subsidy. The first part of the subsidy was a 10% financing of some income tax remittances, and then they followed it up early last week or late the week before with something called the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy, which is 75% of someone's wages. So the long and short of it is, if you have a business, and I refer to the word business because it doesn't. This wage subsidy, the second one I mentioned, doesn't have to be incorporated. So if you have a business that pays out salaries, up to 75% of the business's wages will be financed by the Canadian government. And the only difficulty in actually accessing that wage benefit is that you have to make sure that, not make sure, but it's a lack of a better word, you have to prove to the CRA that your business was impacted by having a loss of revenue of 30% month over month from the prior year. So for example, March passed, so your numbers are going to be available to you around now for March, and you'd say, well, look, my March revenues went down 30% in 2020 compared to March 2019. If you can demonstrate that your month over month revenues declined by 30%, the government would finance that 75% of the wages that were paid. Similarly, the same analysis would have to be done for April and also for May, and that is a significant subsidy that the government is providing. The asterisk that I'd like to point out here is that if a company takes advantage, or a business takes advantage of this wage subsidy, then for any employee that was paid from the proceeds of this benefit, that employee, and I think it's Pashut, cannot take advantage of the curb, because by virtue of the fact that this employee is getting paid, the employee can't possibly answer yes to the question that we talked about of one of the Arba Kushias, right? The idea here is that it's important. I think the onus might be on the business to ensure that it asks its employee, excuse me, have you taken advantage of the curb? If the employee took advantage of the curb, then the business cannot receive financing for that employee's wages.
I guess that's another Seder reference for double dipping.
I think so. I think the intent, right? I think the intent of the government is to make sure that, it's either going to be financed through the corporation, or if the individual doesn't have, the individual at the end of the day should benefit once. But someone would say, well, the individual is benefiting once. They're getting the $2,000 once, and the corporation is getting another financing opportunity from the government. At the end of the day, that's the rule. The rule is, if you're getting finance for one of your employees through the wage subsidy, none of those funds can be used to pay an employee, obviously, who's getting the curb.
Now, you mentioned, is there another program, or can I ask you
there's
about
a few. I think there's a few others. I'll try to go in and out relatively quicker. The first two are the things that I've mentioned to date are the main two programs that I've been asked about. And a lot of what I'm saying is publicly available, and questions that you might have, you can certainly send me an email, ask your accountant, go online. All the information is readily available. The other bullet points that I'll go through somewhat quicker is for companies who have a significant payroll where the business isn't really there at this point because of the current crisis. There's something called a modified work sharing program, which is basically the ability for employees to agree to instead of being laid off, so to speak, what they can do is they agree to say, you know what, I'll only work, 2 days out of 5 days this week. And because I know that I'm not needed to be here for 5 full days. If they find another two employees to agree to that, so that they divide the work week by 3, it will keep them on payroll. And I guess the general term for this is, it's called the work sharing program. I don't know if I mentioned it. It's the modified work sharing program, where essentially if the employee doesn't work the 3 days, let's say that employee, he says, I'm only going to work for 2 days, the other 3 days I'll take off, EI will come in to pay a portion of the salary that the person who didn't work, they'll finance a portion of that salary. So it gives the employer and the employees the ability to not lay anybody off. It will allow them to still take advantage of the wage subsidy, and it will keep things as fluid as possible. The only thing that's required is you need to apply for it through Service Canada. And so I find that companies who have a large payroll, who they don't want to go and start laying everybody off and sending ROEs to people, and if they can sort of come up with this modified plan, employees take a liking to it because they're still part of the group. They get most of their salary if they come up with a plan that they're working for, let's say 3 out of 5 days or 4 out of 5 days, and then they can get a portion of their salary that they're missing from EI. That's sort of like I call it like a top up, and that way, you know, the way that business ran will stay put. You know, the employer is happy because they keep the same people on the ground. They don't have to retrain anybody, and it keeps the business going so that when things start picking up again, hopefully sooner than later, they're not going to have to start with brand new people, brand new staff, and having this delay in retraining everybody again. So I think that's something to look into, and my understanding it's actually quite simple to apply. And again, if you Google it and go through the steps, there's really very clear step-by-step instructions that are laid out for an employer and their employees to go through it. So that's called the Modified Work Sharing Program, and I think it's something worthwhile to look at. Okay.
I have to interject for a moment. You brought up EI. If somebody is unfortunately going on EI, is CERB available to him? The mortgages obviously would be. Obviously, everything the Budget Ontario offered as well. But is CERB available for somebody who goes on to UI?
So my understanding is that EI, someone who is getting to, the problem is about it's a great question, because 2 weeks ago, before the rules came out of how to actually apply, people were applying through EI, and they didn't through the program, through this emergency benefit program through EI. The question is, if someone is getting income from EI, I guess I don't know the answer. In other words, you're saying if someone got EI unrelated to this event, can someone also get the CERB? I guess my answer is, as long as they can answer the questions that are available online, which is, again, to just review them: residing in Canada, who are at least 15 years old, stopped working because of COVID or coronavirus, and have not voluntarily quit their job, or are eligible for EI, regular or sickness benefits. So I guess maybe that's the answer. In other words, if you look at that second bullet point, you have not voluntarily quit the job or are eligible for EI or regular sickness benefits. I don't know. The answer to your question is I don't know the answer. Maybe someone else might be able to interject, but I don't know off the top of my head whether someone who's already getting EI benefits for a variety of reasons, could be sickness benefits, could be because they were laid off 3 months ago. I don't know the answer to that.
Right. Okay, so we have, I want to take some questions. I'm sure people have some questions, plus we have to get Rabbi Philip in, so we're getting a little bit squeezed for time. Any questions, please unmute. Go ahead.
Well, I do have a comment about the FIA, the Financial Institute.
Hang on just one second. Okay, just one moment. I want to take questions before we take comments. Anybody have specific questions?
This was a question, actually, but anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, is anybody else have any specific questions that maybe Amir did not cover? And then we'll come back to the comments.
And you could all unmute yourself. So if you have a question, please unmute yourself.
But can I just do one thing before the questions? I just want to run through the last 4 points because these are significant. The last few points is the following: that a business can definitely get interest-free loans of up to $40,000. That's very important. And what they need to do is they need to call their bank, and the actual program, the implementation of the program, is supposed to roll out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The bank is going to be responsible for implementing it, and all businesses should definitely speak to their bank manager and find out how they can access the credit, because there's a lot of credit, and my understanding is very easy to access it. So that's the access to credit point for businesses. There's also many of you might be aware that there's a lot more time to pay your income taxes. It includes GST, HST, includes corporate taxes. And the last 2 points that would be worthwhile to mention is that WSIB payments are deferred until August 31st, 2020. And finally, EHT, the exemption is raised to $1 million, and there's also a 5-month relief period to pay that too. So that sort of rounds up the business side of it. And again, all this stuff is publicly available online.
Amir, you did not mention any contribution on the city level, on local level. What are they doing?
So
I know John Tory's ironing his own shirts.
No. So there are local, like I presume the biggest one that I'm aware of is property tax. I think that many of the city administered taxes or payments are also deferred. Again, I know that the title of this program was 3 levels of government. I mentioned to Yossi that my focus, I guess, or as I was sort of discussing with him, it was really to discuss the federal and a little bit provincial. The local, unfortunately, I can't really give you a comprehensive look at what the city's been doing.
All right. Ms. Sharp, you wanted to make a comment quickly before we get to Rabbi Philip?
Well, no, actually it was answered in the latter part of the discussion because it was on the FIA and the 40,000. I guess I could add that I've heard that the government will, it's a forgivable loan, that the government is prepared to, if you do get the full 40 from your bank, then the government is prepared to give you, like to forgo $10,000 repayment. That's, you only repay back 3/4, and also there's no interest on the loan.
And it's payable in, I think it's payable in like 5 years or 2023, I think.
2020, I heard 2021, but no, 2022 or something, but never mind.
It's definitely,
if it's free money, it's free money.
You might be right. I think it's very, very worthwhile for all businesses to speak to their bankers and make sure they take advantage of that, because like you just said, it's certainly an amazing opportunity to access funds for businesses.
Thank you. Okay.
Akiva just said the government, who's normally taking from us, are now giving. I think we should introduce these programs to the tuition committees.
And actually, the provincial $200 per kid, I got the link from Beis Yaakov. So they said, please take it and then give it to us as soon as possible. Okay, Rabbi Philip, go ahead. Amir, I hope you stay by. If the Rav is on, he'd like to give us all a bracha. I'd like you to be here for that. Go ahead.
Amir, thank you so much. The only thing Akiva missed is, besides all the wonderful shvachim and milas he said about you, he forgot to mention that you're one hell of a nice guy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rabbi Philip.
Kiva, I'm not sure. Are we on for tomorrow, or this is right? This is the last one before Yontif.
This is the last one for Yontif.
Don't tell him that. He's going to go double as long.
No, don't worry. No, that's, just because of that. Now, I'll just share with you. There's a story instead, if you don't mind. A Maisa that happens to be that the first Sadiger Rebbe, Rabbi Avram Yaakov, Rabbi Yaakov Zaleznik, happens to be was a Shiva in Eitz Chaim in Yerushalayim. Said would have a minig every year by the time of Bedikas Chametz, the night of Bedikas Chametz, would share the story with the Aptarov. And the story with the Aptarov, the Yartzeit of the Aptarov was last week was the Yartzeit of the Aptarov. So it's maybe I'll share with you this story, just an interesting, just a little chizik for before Bedikas Chametz, before Pesach. So he says that it's Rabbi Yaakov, the first guy Sadiger Rebbe, would say that there was a Yid, obviously, who owned a kretschmer. That means he owned like a tavern and he was struggling. And then there was the landlord, the Puritz, and it came along and demanded for him to pay up for his quarterlies, the yearly quarter that he had to pay up. And what happened was that unfortunately he wasn't able to pay up. So on Shabbos Hagadol, he sent 2 henchmen. And they they ransacked his home, and they literally destroyed his home. And it was Shabbos HaGadol, so after they destroyed and ransacked his home, still an Erlich Atmir Yid, what does he do? The Rav is giving out Shabbos HaGadol drasha, so he's going to the Shabbos HaGadol drasha, but he's never downtrodden, all broken. But he's going. He went to he went to the Shabbos HaGadol drasha, and happens to be it was in the city. Kalbasov. Kalbasov is where one of the cities where the Aptarov was the Rav there, and he was giving the Rav was giving a drasha, and he comes in and he hears that the Rav, the Aptarov says that we say before Shemon Esrei we say the bracha Goal Yisrael. Right after Kriya Shema before we say Goal Yisrael, but then 3 times a day in Shemon Esrei we say that's Goyel Yisrael, Lashon Hoive. So the Aptarov explained that we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for Goal Yisrael, the Rebbeinu Shalom redeemed the Klal Yisrael from Mitzrayim. But on the other hand, we say 3 times a day, we say Goyel Yisrael B'Lashon Hoiva in present tense, because every Yid is Zoicha to Yeshuas. Every Yid is their Rebbeinu Shalom redeems in a personal matter, in his own Yeshuas, in Parnasa, and health, and wealth, and whatever it is. The Rebbeinu Shalom is constantly is Goyel Yisrael. And it's something that where we have to know that said Abdurov at the time when this Yid is listening, he says, and there are Yidden sometimes who are Tzaret from the Poritz or whatever it is, but then the Yeshua comes out from there. There's a Goyel Yisrael. This Yid, it uplifted his spirit, and when he uplifted his spirit, he went home saying to his, repeating the entire time, saying, "Oh, the Rav said it's going to be Goyel, it's Zaina Goyel Yisrael. It's going to be a Goyel Yisrael." And he comes home and he tells his family, it's going to be, the Rav said it's going to be Goyel Yisrael. So, and he was so uplifted that they all started dancing. They started dancing. In the meantime, the Parrots wanted to know how this Yid is doing. So he sent his 2 people back, his henchmen back to see how's he doing. And he says, you know what's going on? The guy lost his mind. The guy's dancing at home. Goyel Yisrael. He's dancing all excited. The man lost his mind. The Parrots felt so bad about it. It touched him. So he called him over after Shabbat. He called him over and he told him, he says, listen, I know you're struggling. I have 1 barrel of wine. I'm giving you an opportunity. Take the barrel, sell it to the peasants in the town, make some money. Make some money, you'll pay me back. And the Yid was all thankful about it. There's a Goyel Yisrael. He comes afterwards to the Rav. He comes afterwards before Yontiv, and he says, Rav, I'm bringing some kopikas here, some pennies that I made. This is called the Goyel Yisrael money. So the Sadiger Rebbe would always say that, before we come to Yontif, we come to the Seder, we shouldn't just know that we're just commemorating Zikaron, a remembrance of Goal Yisrael, that Kadosh Baruch Hu redeemed Klal Yisrael Mitzrayim. We should remember that the Rebbeinu Shalom now in current present tense, the Rebbeinu Shalom is Goyel Yisrael. Especially a year like this year, we definitely have to go to the Seder knowing that the Rebbeinu Shalom is a Goyel Yisrael. And we'll be Zoicha B'ez Hashem to all get together and be mechazik each other and dance together of the Geula, that B'ez Hashem, the Geula Asida, and be Noichal Ben Azvachim and Apsachim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabbi Philip.
I think Rabbi Lowy is here, Akiva. I think Rabbi Lowy is here. It says iPhone.
Yeah, I know. It could be his. Rabbi Lowy? Is that Rabbi Lowy? No, it's not. It's somebody else.
So Akiva, you're going to have to give a Birchas Levi to Amir.
Okay.
For being so wonderfully helpful.
I will. Amir, thank you very much for coming on. You should have atzlacha and bracha and continue. To be responsible for Jewish money is a big achrayas, to make sure that they get everything that they can in a derech shara, because everything that they get money with derech shara blesses additional money that should also come in a kosher way. So thank you for everything that you do to follow Dina de Malchus Dina. I just want to go in the last minute to remind everybody that we will return in this program on Sunday Chol HaMoed with Ramosha Bergman and Monday with Rabbi Shlomo Lowy at this same time. So I hope you can join us then. Okay, thank you very much. Have a Chag Kosher V'Sameach. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Amir. It was truly wonderful.
Thank you very much, all. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Rabbi Philip. Thank you for everybody. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good evening.
It's so nice to see the Yiddish Peinemer. Kijk auf die ehrliche Jiden. Kommen lernen. Vaar peisig da so viel Sachen zu tun. Die Jiden kommen lernen. So, I have to unmute you, so. So, what did you say?
I got in just in time for the bracha.
Gewaltig.
The Birchas Kehanim.
He was very good, Amir. He was excellent. Ellie, Geduvit, Arthur, how you doing?
Now, you want to give us the highlights? You want to give us the highlights? Yossel.
Well, he said that the government has made it very easy to get a hold of money. My only concern was it shouldn't be like toilet paper and Shoppers Drug Mart. Our Canadian government might run out of money, but it's very easy.
They can print money as much as they want.
That's right.
Just
like was ich verstanden ist, dass jetzt kann man gammeln Geld.
To do a gittige Gelegenheit. But
they gave us an opportunity.
He said they only ask you, like on Pesach, they ask you 4 kashes, and if you answer them right, and they're all multiple choice, if you answer them right, then they give you. They're being very generous. They're being very generous to individuals as well as the businesses. I mean, they're being serious. And what he didn't say is, I strongly urge no one to have pride. Everyone should grab whatever they can get, because you have no idea how taxes are going to be jacked up once this crisis is over. So we're all going to be paying for it big time. We might as well take what we could now.
Is that what he said?
No, that's what I understood.
How come you're frozen?
I don't know.
What's going on here?
I better get the furnace man to fix me if I froze. Okay, good evening, everybody. Very much. I'm going to say goodbye.
Well, hold it 1 second. What else did he say?
No, he talked about the personal benefits that they have, both from the federal government, which are easiest to attain online, from the provincial government, and then there's a lot of business programs that are easy to attain. There's a $40,000 interest-free business loan that's very easy to get, that's not payable for either 1 or 2 years, and supposedly they're not even going to make you pay back all $40,000. They'll only make you pay back $30,000. So that's a tremendous benefit to a business, and they're subsidizing the salaries.
Yeah, that's if it's paid up within a certain amount of time.
Right. So there's a lot of good benefits that are being offered.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you know, but by us eating it, we always look at these things as opportunities, not challenges.
Baruch Hashem, yeah. Listen, it's the biggest Canadian Kimcha the Pistol program ever launched.
Yeah. So that $40,000 loan, that's applicable to anybody, no matter what the situation.
Business, only for businesses.
Yeah, any business.
Yeah, doesn't matter, any business, and you don't have to go through the government. You call your bank, and your bank administers it.
So if you run 4 businesses, you can get 4 times 40.
That's correct.
4 corporations.
That's correct. You could.
For businesses or even for investment, like property?
That's only for businesses.
Is each one of your buildings under a different title?
No.
Can really cash in.
But does it apply to investment properties or just businesses? You froze, by the way, Shul.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure what they call the business.
He looks like he fell asleep.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Daniel.
Okay, I get over it.
Hi, Reb Chaim. How are you?
Daniel, we're in the middle of a conversation.
We're learning.
Tachlis.
Gary, what page are we on?
What page we are on?
I like asking this question.
25A2.
Thank you.
The question is, are we all on the same page?
Oh, God willing. God willing. We'll be on the same page as the rest of Klal Yisrael eventually.
Yeah, right.
Malki, show me how to unmute. I can't unmute.
You're
E2
not
or A2?
mute. We hear you.
You are not.
25A2?
Yes.
Yochanan.
Yes.
The question is the Chad Gadya, is it good or bad?
You start off with good.
It depends on which direction you're going.
That's right.
Okay, I looked at it today.
Aboisai, could you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Okay, sorry, I couldn't get on. No, I think it's good. Is it clear?
Very clear.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Good evening to everyone. Here we go. Baruch Hashem, I'm here to help.
Daniel, could you hear me?
Yes.
Baruch Hashem, loud and clear.
Okay.
I don't know. People should have bought stock in Zoom if they have a stock.
Oh boy.
They do.
By the way, Gary?
Mm-hmm.
It depends which way you start from. You start off with good.
I know. From the top, and you work your way down, and then back up.
Okay. Did you ask your kids a question?
Not yet. I'm going to give them. It was their first day back at virtual school.
Okay.
So
Okay, Rabbi, here we go. We left off Chaf Hey Amid Aleph. An interesting topic last night. We learned with Ein Madlikin B'Shem and Sreifa. And the reason why Ein Madlikim B'Shem Sreifa Rabbi Yosy was, even though it was given to the Kohen to burn and to have Hana from it, but Ein Madlikim B'Shem Sreifa because we spoke out from Toises, even though it's mutter to have Hana and Havora is mutter, L'tzorech, any Hana Saguf, but since the main mitzvah that you're performing is the Sreifas Truma, Ani Hinei Nasati L'chos Mishmeres Truma Yisai, you're supposed to max out the use, and therefore you're really doing mitzvah. If you're doing mitzvah, there's no mitoich. Even though you can have a side benefit, the halachas of mitoich are that you're doing it really exclusively for your benefit. You're cooking to eat for your benefit. You're washing your face for your benefit. You're washing your dishes for your benefit. Where over here, where you're doing a mitzvah and you get a side benefit, there will be no mitoich. That was the first reason the Gemara said, "Vani hinei nasati l'chos mishmeres trumos b'shtei trumos." The boy is saying the second teretz, "Lo bi'arti mimenu b'tomei, mimenu yatemav avotemav shem chof hey amir aleph." Rabbi Yosy, 10 lines from the bottom. Here we go. Chof hey amir aleph. Reb Chaim chof hey. 25, Chof Hey Amid Aleph. We're going to start from the Iboyis Ema in middle of the Amid. Right in middle of the page, Chof Hey Amid Aleph. Iboyis Ema, another Teretz Gemara says, Midr Rabbi Avu. Rabbi Avu, Rabbi Echnav, Lo Bi'arti Mimenu B'Tomei. Mimenu yatemaver, avlatemaver shemen shel truma. Ma'aseh sheni, you're not allowed to burn bitame. Rashi says it doesn't matter if you're tame, it doesn't matter if the shemen is tame. You're not allowed to burn the mass. But we have a miut. Mimenu yatemaver, avlatemaver shemen truma shenet mas. The shemen truma shenet mas you do burn. Ve'ema mimenu. How do you know? Maybe my sisheni that's tame, you're not allowed to use to burn it, but you are allowed to use shemen of kodesh, shemen of menochos, shemen of the menorah that became nitmas. You are allowed to use that shemen to burn. How's that possible? Kodesh chomor loy kolshke. Madoch my sesheni, which is kala, and yet the Torah says leviarti mimenu betame. You did not consume it. Viarti is a lotion of burning. You didn't even burn it when the oil was tame. Certainly, kodesh, which is more chomer loy kolshke. Certainly, you're not allowed to enjoy kodesh when you're burning it. If you're not allowed to enjoy the ma'aseh sheni, frektig mari hachi trumanami. Truma is also more chomer than ma'aseh sheni. If Truma, which is Osel Izorim, is more Chomer than Ma'aseh Sheni, and Ma'aseh Sheni that became Tameh, you're not allowed to burn with it, so then you're not allowed to burn Truma that became Tameh either. Ihachi Truma Nami Lei Mekal V'choim Mahu. Zokting Mor Haksiv Mimenu. Mimenu is Mimayit Ma'aseh Sheni Truma. Umar Royis. How do you know to include kodesh, that you're not allowed to burn kodesh that became tameh and have hana from the burning? And how do you know truma you are allowed to? How do you know which one is which? We're not going to be mimayit kodesh shekain simin pank akas. Kodesh has the chumrah of pego. Kodesh has the chumrah of noiser. Kodesh has a shem of a korban, Rabbi Yosy. Kodesh, there is me'ilah. On Kodesh, on Kotche Kotchim, there's me'ilah, and Kotchim Kalam, on the Murim, there's me'ilah. Vikaris, on someone who eats Kodesh, B'Kedushas Haguf, gets chorus, whereas Truma is only Misa B'dei Shemayim, and it's also Lo'oinaim. We know that oinein lo yachalti mimenu ba'oini. We know that an oinein is also on kodesh. So Mimela, it's probable that kodesh adapts all these chumras of